Hello, Katia. It is a pleasure to have you today. And I would love to start off by first asking you to introduce yourself. Could you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and where you were before we started our mentorship together?
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation, Jess. It's an honor as well. And sure, I'm Katia. I'm 35, almost 35 years old. And I started as a self-love coach more than 2.5 years ago. So I did a lot of mindset coaching, but then also I tapped into hypnosis. So in more work with the subconscious, and coming here to Mexico 1.5 years ago, I had my spiritual awakening. I tapped into the energy world, and 1 year ago I was called to look into called to do Reiki somehow. Something called me, so I did my first level of Reiki with a woman, very knowledgeable woman as well in Germany. I did an online course and it was very light. So I learned some techniques, the basics. So it was nice, and I felt that I needed to progress somehow. And this is, I feel, how I manifested you. That I wanted to learn more about this world of Reiki. I was so called to do it. And then we met in Puerto Escondido, the Pacific coast in Mexico, where you did the kirtan with the kirtan event with Galia. And this is when I saw you, I felt this attraction. Like I could immediately feel that you were activating something in me. And this is when I felt, okay, so maybe this is my Reiki master. And I really learned with you that it's true. When the student is ready, then the teacher appears. So it was aligned to meet you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. And, going back on just what you just said about when the student is ready, the teacher appears, right? And it's just like the beauty and, what I want to transmit through my teachings with students when it comes to energy, the field, and Reiki, right? Universal life force, is that it is exactly that. It is like when you are ready, like when your cells are preparing you and you have this inner calling, this inner knowing within you, you might not know what it is, but you feel, right, that things are changing and there's something maybe you can't explain, but there's this awakening inside of you where you feel this urgency to take some type of action, right? And you're feeling this yearn. And this is exactly when you are being prepared, right, to receive these teachings. And this is exactly what Reiki is, right? Reiki being spiritually guided universal life force. It is like when we activate our natural innate ability to heal, we then are put in front of everything that we need. And then if our awareness is ready, we're going to go towards it. And that's exactly the way that, I want my students to understand and feel the power of Reiki, and why it's so important for us to cultivate it as a path and not just as a modality, Yeah. And as you were sharing, in the first, what we just asked right now, it was already basically, my second question was, what was your knowledge of Reiki before starting our mentorship training? And you answered that by saying, obviously, you learned the basics, which again, this is everything that we learn. It's like, when you learn it, it is exactly what you need at that right moment, right? And then you will know on a cellular level, your body will tell you, it'll guide you. Your subconscious will guide you to go towards that next level, So I want to go then to the next question, which is, what did you learn throughout your mentorship with me? And how was that different than what you had learned previously, or just your own take on energy healing and Reiki? So how did our mentorship allow you to expand your perspective and experience?
Yeah. So with you, I learned that Reiki is most of all cleansing yourself as a channel for this wonderful universal energy. So what I learned basically about Reiki was the technique and was the history, and it was beautiful, and I felt empowered as well, um, of this basic knowledge. But just tapping into your mentorship and doing this shadow work, it was very deep work and cleansing myself and yeah, going through my ups and downs. It was not always easy. So you saw, I think, a lot of shadows. And it was good to bring them up, to work on them, to turn them into light, and to be this cleaner channel. Um, this is what I definitely learned with you, that it's about the work on yourself, in yourself. Of course, it's never ending, but yeah, the more you tap into your shadows, the more you turn them into light, the more you're becoming this powerful channel for Reiki. So I feel also very empowered to continue my work, my beautiful work with the energy, to heal myself more, to never stop healing myself, to never stop learning, because there is so much more to learn. I know that. Like, I'm being very humble in this. So this is also what you're teaching, that it's 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 a huge responsibility, and it's something we need to considerate, that approaching this with respect, like, to know that we have to do the work to be this wonderful healing channel for other people, to become more powerful, but also using this power in a way where your integrity is called. I feel this is so important, so beautiful. You taught me this, and you empowered me in just being myself, just tapping into my own gifts. So I never felt like, oh, you have to do it like this. These are the techniques. This is the way of Reiki healing. You have to follow this path. I felt very empowered in just tapping into my intuition and connecting with my wisdom, with my womb, and just being myself, because this is the most beautiful medicine we have, the love, the self-love. And when we can tap into that and teach that to other people, to just trust ourselves, trust our inner voice, our intuition, our wisdom, this is when, the real healing happens. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. And it was beautiful because you said exactly the keyword I was feeling into, which was integrity, right? It's like, what is integrity? Integrity is how you show up for yourself when no one is looking, right? And this is what it's all about, So this is why when we met, I felt that you had this quality in you, this virtue of integrity, and I could feel that sincerity from your heart. And this is actually how I knew that we would be a great match to work together, because this is a quality that I look in a student, or, in a friend, and a reflection is integrity. And that's how I can resonate with someone, because I know that when we have integrity, then we're coming from this genuine place. And, we're not the kind of people that are going to be fake or charlatans, right? We're going to do the best in our ability to level up in what we say, and because we're not perfect, we have this humility, and this love of growing and learning is important, when we are on this path of self-mastery, because the greatest illusion is when you think you've got it all figured out and you have nothing to learn. That is the biggest ego trip. And we see this a lot in our world, right? When leaders, they become too over the top, and then they might get caught up in their own ego, maybe their own spiritual ego or whatever, right? The veil over them. So when we cultivate integrity, from this place, we can be truthful and we can come from this place of sincerity. And I feel like that is one of the most important virtues to develop, you know, as a healer, as someone that is working to serve humanity, you know. So I'm grateful that you were able to feel that, you know, in my teachings and in our time together, and that you are this beautiful vessel that can integrate that. So thank you. And then I want to ask you, thank you. And I want to ask you, if you could just share a little bit about us of how were you feeling, you know, energetically, you know, confidentially, in your own ability to heal, just even within your own path, like right around the time that you met me, like right when, remember in Puerto Escondido when we were going to those meetups, you know, kind of like what was that energy that you were feeling? And, you know, throughout our mentorship and the challenges that you went through, you know, especially the love challenges that came up, all of that stuff that came up, how did that mentorship and what we were going through, you know, together, how did that allow you to transform? Like, how is that transformative even now, right? With what you are facing now energetically, how has, you know, that Katia from when we first met transformed, you know, through that mentorship together? Like, if you can just express a little bit on that.
Yeah. So when we met, I thought I was already very confident, but looking back, well, I see that there are always levels. You can always level up in the confidence within yourself. When I look back, I thought maybe I was confident, but there was just so much for me to learn and to grow into my power. And I remember a conversation with you when I was looking for different healing modalities. So I was kind of a person more or less jumping from one healing experience to another. Of course, doing the integration work. So I'm not, it's important. Like, this is the most important thing. So I'm not saying I was just doing some experiences and learning nothing from it. I grew a lot, but I felt with you just showing me, you don't really need so much in the outside. You don't really need all of these healing modalities. The wisdom is within yourself, and mostly we are growing when we're able to listen to ourselves. We're growing very organically, and universe is just showing us what we need, so we don't need to force this healing path. And I'm tapping more and more into this, knowing, and knowing when I need to do something, to when I'm feeling stuck and I really can't help myself, but also knowing, trust yourself. And whatever you do, I mean, you also were there when I had my ayahuasca journey. So you are there to empower everything, every decision. This is what I thought was great as well. You were not like, oh no, don't do that because you don't need it. You were like saying, yeah, it's all meant to be. It's all aligned, and it was aligned. It was important, but also to have this confirmation again that I didn't really need it. It needed it to step more into my power. Talking to the plant medicine, she was telling me as well, like, you have everything within yourself. You don't really need me. Follow your spirit, follow your own greatest guide, and everything is just fine, you know? So just, empowering yourself more and more to feel you have everything you need within yourself. Yeah.
And that's beautiful. And this is why I'm so grateful, you know, that we co-created that healing space, that initiation for you, because, you know, this is exactly what I want to bring back into this industry now. We can call it industry, but healing, you know, self-development industry is like, I hear so many clients, you know, get caught up going to all these different seminars and doing techniques and all of that. Of course, it helps. Just like you said, it's valuable, you know. And we can go through these phases, like the seeker phase, right? We want to try everything. And it's part of the phase, you know. Maybe some of us, we do it one way, and then the other ones do it a different way, right? But it's that seeking phase. And we need to go through that. So this is why, it's like, as coaches, as guides, right? We don't want to cut people off from having their own experience, because if it's coming up for someone, maybe there's something there, another confirmation, and I feel like it's very important for us to allow people to go through their natural process, especially as facilitators. And this is what I'm really happy that you were able to feel into and learn from me mentoring you, because this is what I want you to get from me, so you can see that. And then you, because you are a leader yourself, you're developing yourself daily. You have beautiful gifts, and this is what I want you to take from our experience, so you can create that in your own unique expression, in your own human design, and be able to facilitate natural healing for others, and allowing them to go through their own process, because, everyone has their own medicine, and we can only be a mirror for that, So I'm really happy to hear that this is something that you were able to feel from our time together, and then it's something that you can take, and this leads us to our last question. What are 5 takeaways that you can share with our listeners, right, for future Reiki students that would love to, join, would love to enter in this mentorship with me? What are 5 takeaways that you would like to share that you experienced in our mentorship together?
Yeah, I feel Reiki healing can have so many different bases. We can be so different as Reiki healers. For example, I have this strong third eye of just seeing the healing colors coming through when I'm giving Reiki. So it's beautiful because I receive these intuitive messages of which chakra is blocked, for example, or I can feel into people. It really depends, but there is no one way of experiencing or just offering Reiki as a healer, and just to trust yourself in your Reiki gifts and your abilities, and being empowered, but by other people like you, to just follow your own path. This is beautiful. This was one takeaway, but also you're giving, I'm already very connected to my intuition, so it was easy to just receive this message from you, just follow your intuition, everything is fine. There might be people who are not yet so connected to their intuition, and then of course you're giving more guidance, and you have all this knowledge and all the techniques you can give people, and so they can just tap into it and feel what is right for them. So you were showing me giving me a lot of knowledge as well, and just saying, hey, this is like the knowledge, but just tap into it. Which exercise feels good for yourself? You can create your own way, right? So this is, I feel, very important. On the one hand, empowering in following or connecting with your intuition and following your own healer path. But on the other hand, you're there for guidance if needed, like giving this frame, this knowledge frame, so you have orientation if you need it. And then what else? It's natural to have your ups and downs. So there might be a time where you feel very empowered and you feel very strong, and like no one can hurt you, can do something with you which is disconnecting you from your power. But it can happen. It can happen when we're doing our shadow work, when we are doing our deep, and you're doing this as well with your clients, when we're facing this trauma again and have to work through this to find our light. So there are ups and downs. It's not always like, oh, Jess is empowering me all the time and everything is fine. It's just like this journey. It's an up and down, and this is the lessons we we receive from universe as well to become stronger, to know, to be more resilient, to know that we can have trust and hope at any time. And there's always something to learn. So this is important as well for me to just say that, because yeah, it can be a darker path. And we need to be open and trust this path, even if it's sometimes not nice. Yeah. One last maybe. No, two. So connecting with your womb was something big for me. I can't see you right now, but I hope you can still hear me, Jess. Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So knowing that your womb holds a lot of trauma, which is disconnecting you from your wisdom, and knowing that in your womb center there's so much beautiful wisdom. And with you, I learned to connect more to just really. I heard a lot about womb healing, but I could never really connect to it and understand what it means and what kind of power we have inside of our womb, what kind of wisdom. So this is what I learned as well, to connect with my womb space, to do the womb healing work. And last is really to honor our energy, to not be this healer who, I mean, we all want to help, we all have this big hearts, we're doing it because we love humanity, but sometimes it can be too much of giving. And I feel this is a problem for a lot of healers, that they just want to give and heal, and they think they need to be this way, and they are forgetting that they are giving away very precious energy. And in the end, short term, it might feel good to give away this energy, but we are here for long term. We are here, and this is what I'm learning as well. There's a reason why we're leveling up, because there's something bigger coming, and we need to be prepared for something bigger. And when we are just giving away all the time our energy, we can't. It's not possible to level up, to have this energy for our bigger tasks. So this is what actually, like right now, I can feel so deeply. So I'm valuing my energy more. I'm having my boundaries, and just kindly telling people that I'm open to help, but also it's an energy exchange. So asking for money is not a bad thing. It's very important to really integrate this and to really honor, our energy.
Wow, that was really beautiful, and thank you, for sharing those big takeaways, because, I want to go back on that last one that you said, because that one, it's a big one, and it's a big one as healers, like you said, because, we have so much empathy, compassion, and we want to give, especially if it's still this archetype of the wounded healer that is coming up. And if our biggest wounding is coming from lack of not feeling worthy, right? This lack of valuing ourselves, like not respecting ourselves, because in a way we feel like we're not enough, and we just want to give, right? And something that I feel like many healers can resonate with is, it's hard when you're first starting off as a healer, and you are going through your process, and to think about putting money to something that is sacred, right? At first, it can feel really, really wrong, especially depending on our conditioning with money. But as we go through this process and we understand how much work it's taking from us, and that we agree to incarnate in this lifetime to do this heavy work, because we're here to progress this work, and we have this gift to share with others, then there comes a point where we need to place healthy boundaries and not just see healing as something that we can share, because of course, just us healing our own self and being in the presence of someone is already shifting them, right? On a cellular level. I mean, just us, even if you're locked up in the mountains in a cave and you're doing your work, it's impacting the collective consciousness, right? But now if we have this knowing and this desire that we want to do this as the only thing that we want to do, and we want to make a living, because we live in a world where you got to pay bills, right? We're in bodies, and we're no longer in the times of the sages where you can just go in the mountains. I did that in the beginning of my healing. And then afterwards, I had no money. I had goals, dreams, and now I'm like, but I need money for this. How can I do that? And then I realized that the more that I was coming from this place of compassion, I was being abused. And it was a hard one to understand, that it was because I was not valuing myself, you know, and it's a big wound, right? So I'm glad that you're at this phase now where you're understanding that value, right? And why it's important as healers, as service providers, to ask for that equal energy exchange. If not, people will just come in, you know, from that unconscious place of trying to take from us. You know, so it can be a tough one, but it's very important for us. Very, very important. And this is what I want to encourage everyone, because I went through that myself. It did not feel nice. But if I see that happening to someone, I can guide them, but I know it's something that they need to experience, because it's something within their own experience. And then they'll come to their own conclusion, like, okay, I need to stop. And I feel like this is where you're finding yourself now.
Yeah, it's a very natural process. Also with these anger energies coming up. So it's organically, you can't really do something about it. Like, universe will just push you there to honor your energy more, because you become so angry. There's so much coming up, and you feel like, okay, now it's time to set my boundaries, and I feel so empowered to do it. It's nothing I had to force, you know. And also to just maybe encourage some people going through this process. Universe might test you, so it won't work maybe immediately that you're setting your boundaries and people just coming from everywhere and saying, hey, now we want your healing. But just keep on building this energy and trust that it's the right path, even if it's not immediately like super successful. Just trust and keep your boundaries.
Yes, that's exactly, you know, beautiful, you know. So I want to thank you for taking the time to do this short interview. Thank you, Katia.